Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Pav Bryan. I'm director and head coach here at Direct Power Coaching. And this is part 3 of my 4-part webinar with the overall goal of teaching you how to be your own coach. So we went through training, which is obviously specifically what typical coaching is all about. If you missed that, then you can check that out on my website, which is directpowercoaching.com. And you can go to /blog. On there, you can find all 4 chapters or parts with links to other blogs. So you've got in-depth on there, or if you just want to watch the webinar, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Pav Bryan. We've also got the nutritional chapter, which is the one just before this. The end goal of that was to teach you how to be your own nutritionist. Lots of information on there. If you've been following me a while, or you subscribe to my newsletter, or you read any of my blogs, you'll know how important I place mentality. You would have heard a lot of people, particularly, I think this came from, and I stand corrected if somebody wants to correct me on this, I think from a bodybuilding, at least gym background, the saying 70% of your gains come from nutrition and only 30% from your training. Now, I completely agree with that. I work with a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people who are incredibly religious with their nutrition and eat healthy all the time. And they're the ones that always recover quicker, have more energy, genuinely happier people, and they get better gains, and their body produces adaptation a lot quicker and a lot more effectively than those who eat a lot of junk food, eat a lot of high processed fats and sugar. Okay, so what I tend to do with that 70-30 split is I actually take it one step further. And I say it's more like 15% training, 35% nutrition, and 50% mentality. With that in mind, you can see just how much my focus of my coaching is on ensuring my clients are prepped right. And there's some very good ways to approach this. A lot of it's lost or forgotten in sports coaching, amateur sports coaching. It's really big in professional sports coaches. Sports psychology is a big area, but I don't know many coaches who put as much time into making sure my clients are mentally prepped. And if you're sitting here and you're thinking, well, how big actually is this and how important is it, then you probably have got great gains to be had. Everybody has crisis in 3 of those 4 things listed on the screen right now: commitment, motivation, positivity. Healthy living is something else, which is a method to help you maintain those 3. But I know so many people who do all the right training, eat the right foods, and then on the day absolutely blow it because they put themselves under too much pressure. I've worked with people who have a lot of potential, but they hold themselves back because they don't believe. I've worked with people who are just so negative that produces negative results. So what I do, and what I'm hoping that I'm going to do through here, is inspire you. If you're going to continue to self-coach, I'm going to inspire you and help you become your own sports psychologist. Now, it's important to know I'm not a sports psychologist, but I have had my fair share of mental problems, and I've worked with athletes who do. I am certainly not a coach that looks at somebody who tells me they suffer with depression or anything, and I need to list them all. Anything along those lines, a mental health problem, or even somebody who tells me that they've struggled with motivation. I've never turned anyone away. I'm really proud of that. I'm not a coach that discriminates against people with disabilities. Okay, so one of the most important ones for me is your motivation. Now, what I get all my clients to do is to think about a vision or dream board, what they want to achieve. It's one of the questions I ask when I get a new client come to me is, what do they want to achieve over the next year, 2, 4, or 8 years? What their why is a really big question. Is why are they doing this? A professional might say because they get paid, but somebody riding to raise money for charity, it could be because they lost somebody dear and close to their hearts, and that charity's going to support people who are going to either suffer with that illness or the families that are going to lose other people. And that's a really big why. Motivation can come from simply wanting to prove to yourself that you can do something. I mean, it's massive. I mean, if you've gone through your life watching other people achieve great things and wondering if you can, if you're at that point where you've now got that date for you doing a similar feat and it's all relative to what you can achieve, then this is your why. That's why you're doing it. It's your motivation. So we want to keep you always on that track. Now, motivation is primarily going to help you more with your training. It's going to be really important on the day, but most people will, on the day of their event, have a lot of adrenaline going around, and that will drive them to succeed. So motivation is going to be what's keeping you training towards that goal. Now, I love vision and dream boards. So it's just like a whiteboard. Create a collage of what you want to achieve. So in the middle of that would be maybe a picture. If you're just raising money for charity, then maybe that's the charity name. Maybe that's an amount that you want to raise. Maybe it's, if you're an aspiring pro, that's get on a development team. Maybe if you're on the Olympic development squad, that's your next testing. Maybe it's a trophy. Maybe it's something like that. And then all of these little other things that you want to achieve along the way, that can go on there, anything and everything. And to be honest as well, when I do mine, I never limit it just to my cycling aims. I put my life goals up there. Maybe that's like what I want to buy myself, or maybe that's something that I need to support my family. It could literally be anything you want, because once you've written it down, that's the first step towards achieving it. It's a really, really big part of making sure that you're going to be on your goals. Now, one step above that would be for you to announce it to the world. Now, that's not for everybody, but once you put it out there, that's a massive, massive step towards accountability, because as soon as you tell a lot of people, like you put it on Facebook, you've got hundreds, thousands of friends that you're going to do this, that is going to you're going to want to prove it. You don't want to be like that guy that goes, oh, I didn't quite do it in the end. If you've got a great reason, that's fine. Lots of people fail because they have reasons like sickness and injury, but what you don't want to do is quit because you don't want to do it anymore. And that's what accountability is going to give you. So we can use visuals now. The one that always springs into my mind is the guys that I work with who need to lose a bit of weight, and they always raid the fridge, the pantry, the candy or sweet chocolate drawer or whatever. So I sometimes will send them a picture of me pointing at them, and they can print that out and they stick that on the fridge. And that's really, really good motivation. But it doesn't necessarily have to be like your coach. Again, it could just be a picture of what you want to achieve, your why, charity, the money that you want to raise, what your why is, and then put it next to your bed if you need to get up early and train. Near your bike if you sometimes struggle to get on the bike. Maybe if you've got to train outside and it's cold or raining, then that might motivate you. And again, like if it's an eating habit thing, again, put it on your fridge, put it anywhere. Some people don't always respond well to visuals, and we all learn in different ways. So visuals might not work for you, but maybe you need music, so you can create a playlist of music which motivates you, inspires you, really turns you on, like gets your blood pumping, your heart's like racing, you're really like absolutely geared up, ready to go, ready to like smash your next session. And you can get into the habit of playing that maybe half an hour before you know you need to start. And this is going to become almost like a warm up for your brain, and it's going to get you ready, really fired up and wanting to do this. And that's great. And again, you could play the music during the training. If you're somebody that does struggle sometimes when you're suffering, music can be really good to get you through it. Now, obviously, what we don't want to do is you become reliant on music, because you're almost certainly not going to use music during your event, because if you're out on the road, it would be irresponsible, especially in a mass participation. Most races won't allow you to have anything in your ear anyway. But what it can do during training to give you the confidence to know and complete the training, you become confident and you know you can win your event, win your targets. So we can also talk about affirmations. Now, most people say to me, what is an affirmation? Now, this is an incredibly powerful set of words, slogan, a sentence or two, which you should repeat to yourself maybe 3 times a day, or at times when you need it. You probably do this already, you've just never given it a name. Now, this can be, I know a lot of guys who ride and they do a time trial and they start to hurt, they'll shout stuff like power, 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 more, 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 go, 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 stuff like that. Anything that like turns them on and makes them feel like they need to give more and keep going and not quit. But an affirmation can be something as simple as you telling yourself, when you wake up in the morning, spend 5 minutes just reading that stuff like, I'm going to have a great day, or today is going to be the day that I complete my training session 100%. Or it could be anything. Again, affirmations don't have to be just cycling related. If you wanted to, you could build several cycling affirmations or sentences into an overall 10 minutes of you just repeating these slogans. And you should write them down on like some cards. And I always get people to speak them. And the reason I get them to speak them is as soon as you start talking about it, the same way as like telling people out loud, is that you're actually committing more to that. You might not notice it, but actually by telling yourself this, your behavior towards other people and your energy, your drive, your enthusiasm will change slightly. And are more likely to have a good day when you tell yourself you're going to have a good day. The same way as if you tell yourself your day is going to be a bad one, your day will probably be a bad one. Now, that's probably because you go out looking for stuff to make it a bad day. Like, I hate it when people are like, two things happen to you, and then somebody's like, oh, where's that third thing? Because everything happens in threes, right? Well, no, that's ridiculous. Not everything happens in threes, but I can guarantee that once you've said that, you're going to find that third thing. And it could be something mundane, or it could be something huge. You just don't know, do you? But my point is that forget that. Stop wasting your time and energy on pointless negativity and turn that into a positive. Because once you do, you're going to actually become more successful, not just in cycling, but in day-to-day stuff. So that's enough of me preaching to you about how we could all be more positive people. What I want you to do is at least give this a try. If you're listening to this mentality webinar, I'm guessing that you're open enough to try new things. So why don't you can go online. I think the Huffington Post had probably the best set that I saw. Pick some off there and just start doing it. And you can do it once a day, 3 times a day. You can do it just before training. You could do all cycling, or you could mix some cycling into general life ones. I preferred that because I feel like cycling for me integrates into your life. Now, I'm not a coach that looks at cycling and puts that number 1 on your list of priorities. I'm a realist. I understand that for most of you, you've got family, work, and then other commitments before cycling even gets a look in. So cycling is going to fit in there. So what we should do really is be like, cycling should be a small part of your affirmations. And just try it. I mean, what have you got to lose? Do it for if you can do it for a week, great. 21 days forms a habit. If you can do it for 21 days, you'll probably do it forever. If you still can't commit to that, like writing it down and doing it, download the app ThinkUp. Now, this is a really great app, and you just record your affirmations and then you can listen to them back. And now, again, that's really powerful because you're listening to your own voice, and that's going to make you commit to it. And there's a free app. It's not much to buy the full thing, which gives you a lot more. I use the free one. I think that gives you 5 affirmations. But yeah, if you want more, you can buy more. So let's do that. Commit to trying that and seeing how you get on. So I've already spoke about positivity, and this is such a big part of ensuring that you get to meet your goals. If you go into, especially something like a time trial, which is heavily individual. I mean, it's entirely individual unless you're talking about a team time trial. You are against yourself. So if you're in your head and you're thinking, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or you put too much pressure on it because you want to beat somebody else, you want to set a new PB, or you don't want to look bad. All of these are negative and deconstructive thought processes. The best races I ever see anybody ever do are the ones where they rock up with no pressure, no expectations, and they have fun. And I'm exactly the same. I mean, my best races are the ones where I'm just like, I can convince myself that I don't really care about the outcome. And then I can just go out and I ride my race and I come back and I'm always happy about it. This one sentence, now, again, I'm happy to be corrected here if I'm wrong. And I think it's a paraphrase in Sir Winston Churchill. And it sums this up absolutely perfectly. Whether you believe you will succeed or whether you believe you will not, you are right. And I just honestly can't stress how important I feel that sentence is. If you don't believe that you can do it, you're not going to do it. But if you believe you can, you will. It's as simple as that. Now, obviously, there'll be some people out there that have been like, oh, okay, well, I can believe I can win the Olympics. Well, it's not realistic. Your goals, and if I was your coach and you came to me and you're a 40-year-old and you've worked on a desk job all your life and you used to smoke and you eat McDonald's every now and again, even if you are perfectly healthy, it's very unlikely that I'm going to agree to set a goal with you for you to win an Olympic gold medal in cycling at 40 if you've not been cycling all your life. It's so irresponsible. And coaches, if there's a coach out there that would do that, shame on you. That's just ridiculous. Goals need to be set realistic. And that's what this sentence is. So another great one, which is going to be anybody who suffers with depression or low mood, I strongly recommend you write something like a gratitude list. Write down everything you're grateful for. Again, we don't have to have this as cycling. Of course, it doesn't have to be cycling. And realistically, maybe cycling is just a small part of this list. I mean, I'll read out some of mine. What am I grateful for? I'm grateful for the fact that I have a loving family. I'm grateful that I am able to travel. I'm grateful for my business. I'm grateful for being able to afford nice bikes. I'm grateful for all the clients that I get to work with. Grateful because I get to sit here and I get to record these webinars and all of this stuff, and I get to help other people. I'm grateful for the high quality food that I can eat. I'm grateful for water because not everybody in the world can say that they can even have clean drinking water. The more you realize that actually we are not as unlucky or as hard done by as you think. And that is incredibly powerful. It's really humbling that when you're like, do you know what? My problems in the grand scheme of things, they're actually quite small. Now, I'm not trying to knock anybody who has problems. If you know my background, you know that I am bipolar. I was diagnosed in August 2009, and I've spent a lot time and resources ensuring that I remain mentally healthy. Now, I'm not perfect. I spend maybe 50% of my time in a depressed mood. Now, part of this is because I refuse to take any medication for my bipolar, and it can be quite difficult to manage. But I know that, and this is going to be tying to the next thing, bad times are only temporary. They do not define me. Being bipolar is not something that defines me. I am not bipolar. I'm Pav Bryan. I do a lot of things despite the fact that I suffer with bipolar. I understand, and there's a lot of people there that are sort of sitting there thinking, well, my problems are huge. That's, of course, yeah, everybody has their own issues, but if you allow your issues to define you and take control, then you are losing. What you need to do is just be like, hey, do you know what do I need to do or become to overcome these, and then make those steps. So again, this part's becoming I'm very aware it's becoming like I'm preaching to you guys. So sorry if that's what that sounds like. I just want to get my point across about how important mentality is. I guess that you can't really talk about cycling mentality on its own. It does have to be sort of about everything. So apologies that this is turning into more of a life coaching than cycling exercise. But hopefully people out there will relate to the fact that, yeah, once you look to be more positive, actually life does become a lot easier. So let's talk about healthy living. Now, this is incredibly important, and this is going to make everything else really easy. Okay, so being positive, having a positive mental attitude, great. But if you're not doing some of these other things, which are more to do with like the physical side of it, you might struggle. For example, when was the last time that you didn't sleep a day or two, or you had really poor sleep for a day or two? I bet you found it really hard to be in a good mood, right? Stress. When was the last time you had a lot on at work, or you're having hard times at home, or anything like that creates a lot of stress, and you had a period where maybe like for a week you were incredibly under pressure? Was it easy to remain in a positive mood? No. Again, healthy living can be nutrition. So we could tie into the previous chapter. If you always eat McDonald's and you always eat high processed foods with crap sugars, everything like that, and you drink alcohol a lot, do drugs or you smoke and stuff like that, is it, other than when you're with drugs, obviously, other than when you're, or drink when you're under the influence, are you a positive, or are you able to maintain a positive attitude easily? No. So what I'm trying to get at here is that actually, in terms of your mentality, there are certain things you can do which will make this whole process easier, like getting good quality sleep. Here, I'm not talking about going to bed for 10 hours. I think 7 hours, 8 hours is a great amount. again, it's all about the quality. Like 5 hours of really good, deep REM sleep is better than 8 hours of waking up all the time and tossing and turning. And if you use an app like HRV for training, you will work out whether you're having good night's sleeps or not. Not a fan of any man-made medicine, but there's herbal ones out there you could try. There's tricks like making sure you go to bed the hour before that you're not looking at any screens or artificial lights. Waking up in the morning, you can get like day glow alarm clocks for winter. Now, I'm a sufferer of SAD, seasonal affective disorder. I know a lot of people who become really miserable in the winter because they're getting up before the light comes up, the sun comes up. Day glow lamps like wake you up by simulating that sunrise, and that's a really good way to combat that. Stress, again, this is a harder one than sleep, really. I think stress, because it usually, the reason why, certainly for me, I feel stressed is because something's outside of my control. Like when I used to work in an office, I used to get stressed because I hated having to be a certain place between certain times, and it was a stressful job, and you didn't feel appreciated, all this stuff, and it just all adds up and it creates something. So how can you work to reduce that? Now, it's not as easy as it sounds when I say it, but you need to learn to communicate, because if you're stressed at work, there's no reason really why, because a clever and smart employer will understand that stressed workers, stressed employees are not as productive as happy ones. So if you're stressed at work, then perhaps talking to your employer, your line manager, your boss, whoever, and just being like, do you know what, right now I'm super stressed. What can we do to help that out? And to be honest, I know there are going to be bosses out there that are going to be like, do you know what, shut up, sit down and just get on with your job. More for you guys, because I tell you what, your business or the business you're running is nowhere near as productive as the business with employees who are happy and engaged. I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. We're not talking about letting employees run riot, but we're talking about making sure their basic needs are met. And that is that they feel good, comfortable, safe, secure, all of these things in their job. Now, if your stress is coming from home, again, that's communication, guys. Come on. I mean, if you're stressed in your relationship, then therapy. If you can't afford therapy, then you need to maybe do some online research. There's loads of free information that you can get hold of and learn to communicate. And you know what? I'll be brutally honest here. If that doesn't work, then you need to consider not being in that relationship. And that might sound really like, and I'm sounding like I'm preaching a lot here, and it's outside of my job role as a cycling coach. But what are you doing if you're not happy? I mean, again, Einstein's definition of insanity was repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. So if you're not happy in your relationship or with your family and you're not doing anything about it, then you're insane, because you don't deserve that. And I can guarantee if you're stressed, you're probably not that happy. And then you're maybe not communicating well enough, and you're creating a negative energy in your household. And this is just a spiral. It just feeds everything. Everything becomes worse, thus feeding the more stress for you. So communicate, learn to communicate. It's not as hard as it sounds. Once you get used to being able to do it, then it becomes easier, believe me. And great communicators are the ones that are happier. They're happy in the relationship, more productive, everything. So I'm sorry for preaching to you guys, but hopefully you can take something away from that and just be like, here's what I need to do, and here's how you move forward with it. Okay, so massive one for me, relaxation, time for personal wellness. Now, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are like, well, do you know what? I work 8 hours a day, then I've got my family, and then I've got my other commitments plus my training, and I don't have time for this relaxation. Well, do you know what? I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and people come to me and they say that, and we work out that actually they spend half an hour on Facebook, or they are chatting to their friends, or they're just like not being as efficient. Now, what I'm not going to get you to do is organize your day so that you're rushing from one point to another, because this is counterproductive to what I'm trying to do, and that's help you find time to relax. But you've got to look at this like actually finding 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever, a small part of your day, or at worst case, you want a small part of your week to do something which you're going to feel good about you. I know a lot of people who love to take like salt baths, Epsom salts, nice hot bath, get in there, relax. Like candles, music, whatever you want to do, that's perfect. I know a lot of people who watch like sports on TV. Great, relaxation time. Now, this, to be perfectly honest, this needs to be something that you work with the people that live with you or around you, so that this is your time. Now, you can choose to do a activity where you relax with other people, but you've got to be aware that actually, like, this has to be an activity that does relax you. So in the event that like your wife says, okay, well, I want to go and relax and go shopping, clothes shopping, and you're not like into that, that's not relaxing for you. So you can't use that time. And again, this comes down to communication. Most people, if they understand what you're trying to achieve, will agree to help you find time to do this. Again, bosses, and the new age for employers is to find more time for their employees to be able to take time out, because a relaxed employee is productive. And we're not talking about so relaxed that you're lazy, but we're talking about relaxed so that you're able to like shut out all of the stress and focus, get that focus. And the more focused you become, the more productive you are. And taking this back to cycling, this is incredibly important because you're going to reduce all the stress. You're going to recover quicker if you can relax. You're going to eat better. You're not going to be rushing around. Your training's going to be better, and you're just going to be more positive. And the more positive that you can get your mindset, the better your results are going to be. So last thing on this about healthy living is meditation. Again, a lot of people, I don't know any coaches that, I'm sure they're out there, and kudos to you for telling clients to meditate. This is incredible. This will teach you many things. And if you've never done it and you don't know where to start, download the app Headspace. I think it's still 10 sessions or 10 days for free. It's only I think it's £10 a month thereafter. So it's not going to break the bank. Unlimited resource of sessions. You can do like a foundation pack, which is going to teach you how to meditate and what you're looking for in terms of like mindfulness, visualization, all of these other things. And once you've got that, you're then going to be able to translate that into cycling so easily. You can do the packs. They're great ones. They'll help you improve your recovery, your performance, data analyzing, everything. So I genuinely feel like, and commit to it, do at least the 10 days. And I feel like you should do a little bit longer than the 10 days as well. I don't think that there's any minimum time commitment. So you don't have to sign up for a year. I think it's monthly rolling. And I think this is a real game changer. So I recommend all my clients to do this. And I recommend that you should have a little go as well, because it's going to teach you a lot.